There are stories that make us place a hand over our hearts and wonder, can animals truly perform miracles? This isn't just a story about a boy fighting for his life or a family facing unbearable loss. It's the extraordinary journey of a dog, a friend, a hero, and perhaps something even more. Maximus wasn't just a loyal dog. He did something no one could have ever imagined. He sacrificed himself to save the one he loved most. But what really happened? Could there be an invisible bond connecting these two souls? If you believe in the friendship between humans and animals, if you cherish heartfelt stories of loyalty, subscribe to Dog Stories today to never miss another touching tale. Have you ever had a loyal dog by your side? Share your story in the comments. Who knows? Dog Stories might feature it in a future video. Now let's begin this incredible story. Inside St. Helena Hospital, 8-year-old Noah Carter lay silently on his hospital bed, his breaths weak and fragile, like a candle flickering in the wind. His pale face looked even more lifeless under the dim hospital lights, his eyes shut, tight, and his frail body buried beneath layers of pristine white sheets. The slow, rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor echoed in the quiet room, each faint sound a reminder that Noah's life was slipping away. Sitting beside the bed were Olivia Rose and Liam James, his parents, their eyes filled with unbearable pain and despair. Olivia clutched her son's cold, delicate hand, tears streaming down her face despite her efforts to hold them back. Beside her, Liam placed one hand on his wife's shoulder while the other grasped Noah's tiny hand, as if trying to transfer the last warmth and hope he had left to his son. Liam, a man who had always been strong, could no longer hide his grief. His fingers tightened around Olivia's hand, his gaze lost as he looked at their son's face. Noah's congenital heart disease had plagued him for years, but now it had reached its final stage. They had tried everything, every advanced treatment available, but the doctors had told them Noah didn't have much time left. Amidst the heavy silence, a quiet figure lay at the edge of the bed. Maximus, a German shepherd with a thick coat of deep golden-brown fur and eyes filled with unwavering loyalty. Maximus had been by Noah's side since he was just 4 years old. He was not just a pet, but Noah's only true friend, a silent guardian who never left his side. Through days of laughter and nights of suffering, Maximus rested his head gently on Noah's tiny hand, his breath slow, his gaze filled with sorrow, as if he somehow understood the cruel fate awaiting his young owner. All day long, the dog had refused to leave Noah's side, not even for a moment. Even when the doctors came in to check on the boy, Maximus remained still, only lifting his head to watch them cautiously, as if trying to shield Noah from something unseen. Olivia softly ran her fingers through Maximus's fur, whispering, "I know you're hurting just as much as we are, Max, but there's nothing more we can do." The dog shuddered slightly, his ears twitching before drooping again, as if sensing something beyond human perception. Outside the window, the sky was pitch black. The pale moonlight filtered through the thin curtains, casting faint streaks of silver across the hospital floor. The hallway outside was eerily quiet, illuminated only by the cold, sterile glow of the overhead neon lights reflecting off the pale blue walls. Far in the distance, the occasional wail of an ambulance siren pierced through the eerie silence of the night. Outside the nurses' station, a few staff members whispered quietly, their voices hushed, as if afraid to disturb the fragile dreams of the patients. Inside the hospital room, the sterile scent of disinfectant mixed with Noah's faint breaths, adding an even heavier weight to the already suffocating atmosphere. Olivia glanced at the clock. The second hand moved steadily, yet each passing moment felt agonizingly slow. Suddenly, Maximus sprang up, his ears standing erect, his sharp eyes locked onto the hospital room door. A cold shiver ran down Olivia's spine as she noticed the dog's unusual reaction. Liam saw it too. "Max, what's wrong, buddy?" he asked, his voice raspy, trying to reassure the dog. But Maximus didn't move his gaze away. A low, guttural growl rumbled from deep in his chest, a sound quiet, yet full of warning. Olivia tightened her grip on Liam's hand. "Do you Feel like something's off? Liam didn't respond. He simply stared at Maximus's watchful brown eyes. Could it be that something was happening beyond their understanding? The last breath? Noah suddenly stirred. Olivia jolted, her heart nearly stopping. She quickly leaned over him, her eyes brimming with tears. "Noah, sweetheart, can you hear me?" The boy didn't respond. His breathing grew weaker, so faint it was barely noticeable. The heart monitor let out fragile beeps, each interval stretching longer than the last. Liam sat up straight, his voice tight with fear. "No, this can't be happening." Olivia's handkerchief slipped from her grasp as she clutched her son, in panic. Out of nowhere, Maximus leaped onto the bed, pressing his body tightly against Noah, as if trying to transfer his warmth to the boy. Olivia sobbed, but in the darkness, Maximus's eyes gleamed with an almost otherworldly intensity. Could it be that Maximus knew something they didn't? The atmosphere in room 302 grew heavier with each passing second. The second hand on the wall clock continued its slow, steady movement. But for Olivia Rose and Liam James, every tick felt like a blade slicing deeper into their hearts. The hospital. Room door suddenly swung open, and a figure stepped inside. Dr. Ethan Reynolds, the physician overseeing Noah's treatment, entered with a weight in his gaze. He removed his glasses, taking a slow, deliberate breath, as if searching for the gentlest way to deliver the words no parent ever wanted to hear. But Olivia already knew. Whatever he was about to say would be devastating. We've done everything we could." His first words felt like a dagger piercing Olivia's chest. She gripped Noah's fragile hand even tighter, unwilling to let go, not even for a second. Liam shot to his feet, panic flashing across his face. "No! There has to be something else! We can't lose him!" Dr. Reynolds shook his head slowly, his voice heavy. "Noah's heart is too weak. We've exhausted every option, but he's no longer responding to the medication. Now, all we can do is wait." A suffocating silence filled the room. Olivia slumped over the bed, burying her face in the white hospital blanket, muffled sobs shaking her entire body. Liam stood frozen in place, his eyes bloodshot, his fists clenched so tightly against the chair's armrest that his knuckles turned white. In the corner of the room, Maximus, Noah's loyal German shepherd, had been lying quietly beside the bed. But suddenly he sprang to his feet. A soft whimper escaped from his throat, his ears standing erect, his sharp gaze locked onto his little owner. A strange presence seemed to seep into the room. Noah remained motionless, but his heartbeat grew even weaker, the monitor's beeps becoming slower and more sporadic. Liam and Olivia were too consumed by their grief to notice the subtle, yet alarming shift in Maximus's behavior. Something was happening. Maximus didn't take his eyes off Noah. He moved closer, his nose gently pressing against the boy's tiny hand. His body tensed, his muscles rigid, as if sensing something invisible, something beyond human perception. Suddenly the hospital room lights flickered, casting eerie, shifting shadows against the walls. Maximus let out a low growl, not of aggression, but of warning. Through tear-filled eyes, Olivia noticed the change. She lifted her head and stared at the dog. "Max? What's wrong, boy?" Maximus whimpered again, then suddenly leaped onto the bed, pressing his body tightly against Noah. Dr. Reynolds furrowed his brows. "We need to get him off the bed. Dogs aren't allowed on hospital beds." But before the nurse could step forward, something unbelievable happened. Noah's heartbeat stopped. A single piercing beep filled the room as the heart monitor flatlined. Olivia screamed. Liam's face turned ghostly pale. Dr. Reynolds stood frozen in shock. Maximus didn't move. Instead, the dog gently rested his head on Noah's chest, closed his eyes, and took a deep, steady breath. At that exact moment, something shifted. Boom! Long, continuous beep suddenly cut off. Then, beep! Beep! The entire room froze, eyes widened, breath caught in throats. No one could believe what they were witnessing. Dr. Reynolds rushed to check the monitor, his hands trembling. This isn't possible," he whispered. Noah's heartbeat was coming back, a warning, or a miracle. Liam inhaled sharply, gripping the edge of the bed for support. Olivia remained stunned, tears still streaming down her face, though she wasn't sure if they were tears of grief or hope. Maximus still wouldn't leave Noah's side. His breathing grew heavier, as if he were channeling every ounce of his strength into something far greater than himself. Dr. Reynolds glanced back at the heart monitor. Noah's EKG line was still weak, but it was no longer flat. He was alive. Olivia clasped a hand over her mouth, unable to believe what she was seeing. Liam placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, yet he too was at a loss for words. But something was even more unsettling. Maximus still hadn't moved. His eyes remained locked onto Noah, filled with something different. Beep, beep, beep. The heart monitor's rhythm grew stronger, breaking the eerie silence that had consumed the hospital room. Olivia held her breath, her eyes wide with shock as she stared at the screen. Just seconds ago, the line had nearly gone flat. But now, the signs of life were returning. Liam stood frozen, a chilling mix of terror and hope surging through him. He turned to Olivia, then lunged toward the emergency call button, slamming his palm against it. "Doctor, help my son, please!" Olivia cried out, her voice cracking with panic. Within moments, Dr. Ethan Reynolds and 2 nurses rushed into the EM. The next few seconds felt like a storm. Nurses checked Noah's blood pressure. Dr. Reynolds focused intently on the heart monitor, and Liam and Olivia clung to each other, barely daring to breathe. But the strangest thing in the room wasn't Noah's sudden recovery. It was Maximus. A mysterious phenomenon. Maximus, the German shepherd, remained pressed tightly against Noah, refusing to move. His entire body was tense, his breaths rapid and labored, yet his eyes burned with an intense focus, as if he were channeling some unseen energy into the boy. Dr. Reynolds furrowed his brows, noticing the unusual behavior. "Hold that dog back! He could hurt the boy!" A nurse stepped forward, reaching to pull Maximus away, but just before she could touch him, a sudden chill ran down her spine, a cold, unsettling sensation that made her freeze in place. Maximus didn't growl. He didn't bark. He didn't panic. He simply pressed himself even closer to Noah, his breathing deep and purposeful, as if he were transferring something invisible, something powerful. And at that very moment, a miracle happened. Noah's eyes opened. Beep, beep, beep. His heartbeat was stronger than ever, a slight movement. His fingers trembled beneath the crisp white hospital blanket. Olivia clutched Liam's hand, her tears spilling uncontrollably. Dr. Reynolds, utterly stunned, leaned down and checked Noah's pupils. This is impossible," he murmured. A faint breath escaped from Noah's lips. His eyelids fluttered, and then they opened. Olivia's entire body shuddered, a mix of astonishment and fear flooding her eyes. Noah Carter had just woken up, after his heart had nearly stopped. Everyone in the room stood frozen in silence, too afraid to even breathe. Liam gripped the edge of the bed, his eyes bloodshot with raw emotion. But what shocked them the most, it wasn't just the fact that Noah had opened his eyes. It was the very first word he spoke. "Max." Noah's voice was faint, barely more than a whisper carried by the wind. But everyone in the room heard it, crystal clear. The boy lifted his small, fragile hand, reaching out to touch the soft fur of Maximus. "You never left me," Noah murmured, his lips curling into a weak yet deeply emotional smile. Dr. Reynolds' eyes widened. Liam and Olivia turned to each other, stunned beyond words, as if they had just witnessed something that defied all logic. How did Noah know Maximus was there? He had been unconscious for hours, completely unaware of his surroundings. So why was the first thing he did calling Maximus's name? An unanswered question. Dr. Reynolds quickly ordered a full checkup of Noah's vitals. The results? Everything was normal. No signs of heart failure. No indications of distress. Minutes ago, Noah had been on the brink of death. But now, he was awake, alert, smiling, and talking to his dog, as if nothing had ever happened. Tears streamed down Olivia's face as she clutched her son tightly, as if afraid he would disappear if she let go. Liam bowed his head, silently wiping away the rare tears of a man who once thought himself unshakable. Maximus remained by Noah's side, but suddenly, his body shuddered. Dr. Reynolds looked at Olivia and Liam, his voice low and measured. This is not a normal case," he said, his eyes clouded with confusion. "There's no medical explanation for this, at least not one that science can offer." Liam tightened, his grip on Olivia's hand. Both of them knew. Something had happened in this room. Something that defied all logic, a miracle, or something beyond human understanding. Noah was awake. He was alive. But one question lingered in the air. What brought him back? Was it a miracle? Or was there a force beyond comprehension at play? Room 302 was filled with indescribable emotions. Just hours ago, Noah had been on the brink of death. But now he lay in bed, his face still pale, yet carrying a newfound vitality that hadn't been there before. Olivia held her son tightly in her arms, tears streaming down her cheeks, but this time they weren't tears of sorrow. They were tears of pure joy. Liam stood beside them, his gaze filled with awe and relief, unable to fully grasp the miracle that had just unfolded before his eyes. No one could believe it. Noah had returned from the edge of death. The boy's small, frail fingers clutched onto Maximus's soft fur, holding onto the warmth of his loyal companion. But just then, Liam noticed something was off. The German shepherd lay completely still, not with the same alertness and energy as before. His fur appeared ruffled and heavy, as if the life within him was slowly fading away. Olivia's breath hitched. Her heart pounded as she too realized something wasn't right. "Max," Liam whispered, stepping closer and kneeling beside the dog. Maximus didn't react right away. It took a few seconds before he slowly lifted his eyes, but they looked dull, as if exhaustion had drained the life from them. Liam had never seen Maximus like this before. Since the day they brought him home, he had always been full of energy, always running around, always staying right beside Noah. But now, he lay motionless on the floor, his breathing slow and labored. Noah looked down at his beloved dog, worry filling his gaze. "Why is Max so tired?" he asked, confusion lacing his weak voice. Olivia quickly reached out, stroking Maximus's head. But the moment she touched him, a chilling realization hit her. His body temperature was lower than normal. Dr. Reynolds, despite being a man of science and logic, couldn't deny the strange phenomenon unfolding before him. Why was Noah getting stronger, while Maximus was growing weaker? Liam swallowed hard, unease settling deep in his chest. He looked at his son, then back at the dog. It was as if Maximus had given away a part of himself to bring Noah back. The thought sent a shiver down Liam's spine. What had Maximus done? What had truly happened in this room? Dr. Reynolds shook his head, his logical mind struggling to make sense of it all. "I can't explain this, but something here is not normal." Olivia gently shook Maximus, but the dog only lifted his head weakly, before resting it back down on the floor. He didn't even have the strength to wag his tail. A heavy sense of dread filled the room. Noah, though still weak, reached out and placed his hand on Maximus's back. He didn't understand what was happening, but in his innocent, glassy eyes, there was an undeniable bond, an invisible connection with his loyal companion. "Max, don't leave me, okay?" Noah whispered, his voice trembling as tears slipped down his cheeks. What had truly happened? Dr. Reynolds let out a deep sigh as he stood up. "I'll call a vet to check on him." Olivia nodded, but deep in her heart, an unshakable sense of unease crept over her. Maximus wasn't sick, he wasn't old. So why did he look as if the very life was draining from his body? Had Noah's miraculous recovery come at a greater cost? Could Maximus's weakness be connected to the mysterious force that had brought Noah back? No one in room 302 had an answer, but they all felt it. Something was happening, a truth yet to be revealed. And in that moment, Liam realized something he wasn't ready to admit. Had Maximus given a part of his own life to save Noah? Silence filled the hospital room. Olivia and Liam exchanged uneasy glances, unable to shake the feeling that there was something far greater at play, something they couldn't yet comprehend. Noah was awake, but Maximus was growing weaker. The undeniable connection between these two souls was impossible to ignore any longer. Noah gently placed his small hand on Maximus's head. For a brief second, his eyes clouded over, as if he was trying to remember something just out of reach. Then he turned to his parents, his voice soft yet clear and certain. "Max called me back." Olivia was stunned while Liam narrowed his eyes in confusion. "What do you mean, son?" Noah swallowed, his lips trembling slightly. He stared at Maximus before speaking slowly. "When I was in the darkness, I heard Max's voice. He kept calling me." The room fell into complete silence as Noah continued. "It was so dark. There was nothing. I felt like I was being pulled into a faraway place, cold and lonely. But then," Noah paused, his eyes glistening, "I heard Max barking." Liam leaned back slightly, trying to process his son's words. Olivia squeezed Noah's hand tightly, her heart pounding at what she was hearing. At first, the barking was faint, far away. But then, it got closer and closer. "I heard Max calling. He wouldn't let me go." A lump formed in Olivia's throat. A shiver ran down her spine as she grasped the weight of her son's words. Noah took a deep breath before continuing. "And then, I felt something pulling me back, like someone was grabbing onto me, holding me in place. Max did that." Liam furrowed his brows and turned to look at Maximus. The dog still lay there, breathing weakly, but his eyes never left Noah. Had Maximus pulled Noah back from the thin line between life and death? An unexplainable connection. Olivia shuddered, but not out of fear, out of something deeper, something mystical that she had never believed in before. Liam, though still skeptical, couldn't deny what he saw in Maximus's eyes. Something extraordinary had happened. "Max might have really saved you," Olivia whispered, her eyes brimming with emotion. Noah nodded, his small hand reaching out to gently stroke Maximus's soft fur. "I could feel him. I knew Max was with me, even when I thought I had gone too far away." Liam took a deep breath, trying to make sense of it all. Could a dog really do this? Was it possible that there was a connection stronger than anything they had ever known? Olivia turned to her husband, her voice trembling. "Do you think Max gave up something to bring Noah back?" Liam didn't answer right away. He simply stared into Maximus's deep brown eyes, and for a moment he felt like the dog knew something humans could never understand. Could something far greater be at play? Noah had no doubt. He knew exactly what he had experienced. He had stood at the edge of disappearing forever, but Maximus had pulled him back. Olivia and Liam felt it too. They couldn't explain it, but they couldn't deny it either. Yet one question still lingered in the air. Had Maximus truly sacrificed a part of his own life to bring Noah back? Was there a greater force behind the bond between the boy and his dog? No one could answer. But one thing was clear. Maximus wasn't just a dog. He was something much more. Noah knelt beside Maximus, tears streaming down his cheeks. The loyal dog lay still, his breathing weak, his deep brown eyes now filled with exhaustion, yet they still held warmth. "Max, please don't leave me." Noah's voice cracked as he placed his small hand on Maximus's soft fur, trying to give warmth back to the only friend he had ever known. Maximus blinked slowly, his ears twitching slightly in response to Noah's touch, but he no longer had the strength to wag his tail like before. "There has to be something we can do. There has to be a way." Noah turned to his parents, panic filling his gaze. Olivia knelt beside her son, struggling to stay calm, but her tears betrayed her. She didn't know what to do. Liam clenched his fists, his expression torn. The vet will be back soon. Maybe they're still away. But even he couldn't believe his own words. There was no way. Noah gently shook Maximus, but the dog only closed his eyes, letting out a slow, tired breath. "Maximus, don't sleep. You have to wake up. I can't lose you." The room fell into a deafening silence. Maximus opened his eyes one last time, looking at Noah with pure love, as if telling him that everything would be okay. Noah broke down, sobbing as he leaned forward, wrapping his arms around the dog's fragile body. "You saved me. Please don't leave me." Olivia and Liam stood frozen, feeling helpless as an unbearable weight crushed their hearts. This dog had done everything to bring Noah back, but who would save Maximus? Maximus shifted his head slightly, pressing his nose gently against Noah's hand. That small, quiet gesture made the entire room fall still. He knew. He understood his time was running out. His eyes were soft, yet filled with quiet acceptance. A silent goodbye that needed no words. Noah clenched his fists, his small forehead pressing against Maximus's, desperately trying to hold on to any warmth still left. "Maximus, you can't leave me. You're my best friend." Maximus closed his eyes, his body trembling slightly. Liam took a deep breath, turning away, while Olivia couldn't hold back her sobs. Maximus was slipping away, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. Was there any hope left? The weight of sorrow pressed down on the room, broken only by Maximus's fading breaths and Noah's quiet sobs. The boy felt his entire world crumbling around him, yet one question echoed over and over in his mind. Was there still a way to save Maximus? Was this truly the end? Noah refused to accept it. He had to do something, and before it was too late. The morning light crept through the hospital window, casting a soft glow over the silent room. The steady beeping of Noah's heart monitor echoed faintly in the background. But today, something felt different. Noah stirred, his eyes slowly fluttering open after a restless sleep. He turned his head to the side, where Maximus still lay, his soft fur resting gently against the floor, his breathing no longer as labored as the night before. But something was wrong. Something wasn't moving. Noah blinked a few times, his heart sinking. An invisible wave of fear spread through him as he reached out with trembling fingers, gently touching his loyal companion. Maximus didn't move. No breath. Nothing at all. A pain. Too deep for words. "Max?" Noah's voice came out in a whisper, so faint it was almost swallowed by the silence. Maximus didn't respond. Noah felt his chest tighten, his small hand gripping the dog's fur. But it was cold. He shook his head, gently nudging Maximus's body. Nothing. A single tear slipped down Noah's cheek, landing softly on the crisp white hospital blanket. "No. Please, Max. Wake up." Liam and Olivia rushed over the moment they heard Noah's voice break with sorrow. And the moment their eyes fell on Maximus, their worst fears became reality. Olivia collapsed into her hands, sobbing uncontrollably. Liam fought to keep his composure, but his eyes burned red, his throat tight with grief. Maximus was gone. He had fulfilled his purpose. The room fell into a heavy silence, broken only by Noah's quiet, heart-wrenching sobs. Liam knelt down, gently placing a hand on Maximus's body, feeling the last remnants of warmth slipping away. "He saved you, Noah." Liam's voice was rough, thick with emotion. "And he did it with all his heart." Noah nodded, tears streaming endlessly down his face. He wrapped his arms around Maximus, burying his face in the familiar fur, feeling as though everything was slipping through his fingers. "I don't know what I'll do without him, Dad," Noah whispered, his voice trembling. Olivia couldn't find the words. Instead, she pressed a soft kiss to Noah's forehead, her hands shaking as she stroked Maximus one last time, one final goodbye. The weight of loss filled the room, but beneath it, a deep sense of gratitude remained. Maximus did not leave in vain. He had saved Noah, and though this goodbye was unbearably painful, they knew he had completed his mission with love, with devotion, with everything he had. Noah took a deep, shaky breath, forcing himself to say the words his heart was breaking over. "Thank you, Max." His voice cracked. "I know you were always with me, even when I was lost in the darkness. You pulled me back. You never let me go." Liam and Olivia held each other tightly, sharing in the deep sorrow their son was experiencing. "I promise. I'll never forget you. I'll always remember how much you loved me." Maximus lay still, but even with his eyes gently closed, a peaceful expression remained on his face. As if he knew Noah was going to be okay, and that was all he had ever wanted. Liam gently lifted Maximus, his arms tightening around the dog as if holding on would somehow keep the pain from spilling over. Olivia brushed her fingers through Maximus's soft fur one last time, each touch bringing back a flood of memories. Noah sat silently on the hospital bed, his vision blurred with tears, but he never looked away. He couldn't. He didn't want to miss a single second. Then, the hospital room door slowly creaked open, and for the first time since Noah had woken up, everything felt emptier than ever. The days after Maximus was gone felt unbearably quiet. The house no longer echoed with the familiar sound of paws pattering against the floor. There were no bright, eager eyes watching the door, waiting for them to return. No one jumped onto Noah's bed in the morning, covering him in warm, slobbery kisses to wake him up. Yet, even though Maximus was gone, his love and sacrifice remained, etched deeply into their hearts. Noah had fully recovered, yet inside, something still felt unfinished. He needed to do something to honor his loyal friend. One afternoon, as the family sat together on the porch in thoughtful silence, Noah finally spoke. "We have to do something for other dogs, Mom. Dad. Maximus spent his whole life loving me. I want to help the dogs who have no one to love them." Olivia gazed at her son, her eyes filled with emotion. Liam nodded, placing a hand on Noah's shoulder, proud of his son's compassionate heart. They decided to turn their pain into action. From that day forward, Noah's family dedicated themselves to making a difference. They began researching local animal rescue shelters, volunteering to care for abandoned dogs, donating food, and helping them find loving homes. One day, Olivia and Liam adopted a tiny, abandoned puppy, a little one with sad eyes, just like Maximus once had. Noah named him Hope, because he represented the hope that Maximus had left in his heart. Maximus, a legacy that lives on. Their small acts of kindness began to spread, inspiring those around them. Liam started a fundraising campaign to help shelters buy food and medical supplies for homeless dogs. Olivia wrote an article about Maximus's journey, sharing how he had saved their son not once, but twice, through his loyalty, his love, and his ultimate sacrifice. Maximus's story touched hundreds of people. More families stepped forward to adopt abandoned dogs, giving them the homes they had always dreamed of. And Noah, he no longer felt empty. Because deep down, he knew Maximus had never truly left him. One late afternoon, Noah stood in front of Maximus's resting place, a quiet corner of the garden where the loyal dog had once loved to bask in the sun. He gently placed a small bouquet of flowers, his fingers softly tracing the letters on the nameplate. "Max. You taught me what loyalty, courage, and unconditional love truly mean." A soft breeze rustled through the trees, and for a fleeting moment, Noah felt as if someone was standing beside him. He smiled. Maximus was still here. In every breath Noah took, in every act of kindness he did for other dogs in need, and in that way, Maximus would live on forever. Time passed, but the memories of Maximus never faded. Noah's family continued their journey, rescuing abandoned dogs and giving them the loving homes they deserved. Noah, now fully recovered, still held the image of his loyal friend close to his heart. In his bedroom, on the small nightstand beside his bed, sat a special framed photo. Maximus, his gentle eyes filled with warmth, still watching over him. Every night before falling asleep, Noah would look at the picture, as if sending a quiet good night to his beloved friend, the one who had left, yet never truly gone. A strange moment, one late afternoon, as Noah played with Hope, his new puppy, in the garden. A gentle breeze swept through the air, rustling the fallen leaves around them. Suddenly, Hope perked up, his ears standing tall, his eyes locked onto a quiet corner of the yard, as if someone was there. A chill ran down Noah's spine, but it wasn't fear. It was familiar. It was warm. He closed his eyes, inhaling deeply, and a memory surfaced. The memory of Maximus lying beside him during his darkest days, refusing to leave him even for a second. When Noah opened his eyes, he smiled. "You're still here, aren't you, Max?" The wind gently tousled his hair, and though no voice answered, he knew. Maximus had never really left. Do you believe in miracles? Maximus wasn't just a loyal dog. He was a symbol of unconditional love, bravery, and ultimate sacrifice. This story isn't just about a dog saving his owner. It's about a bond so deep, a connection between humans and animals that transcends the boundaries of life and death. Do you believe that dogs can perform miracles? Have you ever witnessed the loyalty of an animal in a way that changed your life? Share your story in the comments, because maybe your experience could inspire someone else. If you love stories about the unwavering loyalty of animals, don't forget to subscribe to Dog Stories so you never miss another heartwarming tale. Share this story so more people can understand that animals aren't just pets, they're family, companions, and the truest friends we could ever have. And if you can, open your heart and help a shelter dog. Because who knows, you might just find your own Maximus. Thank you for being part of this story.